Good afternoon and welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Vivek Iyer and with me today is Hormaz Fatakia. Hormaz, in the last hour of trade, markets that were actually trading the green have given up all of the gains, and in fact the selling the last 15 minutes to last half hour has actually intensified. The Nifty bank at one point of time was up almost 1.3% in trade. It is now trading with cuts of 0.4%. So it's been a sharp intraday fall that the markets have seen, and the broader end of the markets too are seeing significant selling pressure.
Banks were culprits they were helpers on the upside. Now they are culprits on the downside. So it's all about the banks in today's trading session. As you can see, a sharp fall from the peak for the Nifty bank, a significant drop there. But we'll talk about this as the show goes by. But these are the headlines that we're tracking at 1:30 this afternoon. The market gives up gains and now is trading at the lowest point of the day in what is turning out to be a volatile session at the penultimate day of 2024. Autos and metals have come under pressure. Midcap index too is under pressure now.
JSW Energy's arm, JSW Neo, snaps up O2 Power with near 4,700 megawatt of renewable energy capacity for about 12,000 crore rupees as EV. Analysts give a thumbs up to the deal.
Newgen Software has surged in trade following the announcement of a 24 crore rupee contract with iFinance. The deal will help iFinance's operational efficiency and customer experience.
Motilal Oswal reiterates buy rating on Ipca Labs. The brokerage house believes the pharma major is well poised to revive its US business through new product launches.
3 new listings on the Wall Street today. Senor's Pharma and Ventive Hospitality see a strong debut, listing at a premium against their issue price, while Carraro India has listed at a discount.
Well, those are the top headlines for the day. And like we've been mentioning, there's been quite a bit of a sell-off, and the sell-off has intensified, especially in the last half hour or so. What is it that's causing such a sharp sell-off? Well, one particular pocket that we mentioned, of course, were the banks. The entire Nifty bank has seen quite a bit of a sell-off, and all of the banking stocks, which just around 2 hours ago were trading near the day's highest points, names like ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, all of them now trading near the day's lowest point, tracking the Bank Nifty lower. Along with that, metals too, names like NMDC now trading with cuts of almost 4% in the intraday session. But this is our special segment, Midcap Movers. Upasna today is standing by the wall to take us through the midcaps that are moving around in the session.
Well, it's been quite a volatile day today, as highlighted by Vivek earlier as well. Now, first up, let us look at the top gainers on our radar today. ITI up about nearly 14%. AstraZeneca, Happiest Minds, Credit Access Grameen up nearly about 6%. And Phoenix Mills also up about 2% in today's trading session. Now, pharma sector continues its outperformance, and stocks like Biocon, Abbott India, Lupin will be on our radar. Abbott has seen a gain about nearly about 2%, but Biocon has gained nearly about 10% in the past 4 trading sessions. Now let us look at the volume buzzers for today. Campus Activewear up nearly about 2%, Sarah Sanitary Wear up nearly about 5%, Blue Star is seeing some sharp gains there, up nearly about 4%, and Sumitomo Chemicals also on our radar, nearly up about 6%. Now, on the flip side, let us look at the stocks which have hit a fresh 52-week low. Balaji Amines down about 3.5%, and Alkyne Amines also down nearly about 4% in today's trading session. Now, let us look at the other mid-cap losers. Triveni Engineering down nearly about 8%. Intellect Design continued to remain in focus even last week as well. This week it's down about 5%. Ratnami Metals also down about 4%, and lastly KFin Tech is also down about 4.5%. Now let us look at the newsmakers of the day. Vodafone Idea continues to remain in focus, up nearly about 6.5% as government waives bank guarantees for past spectrum auctions. Gujarat Fluorochem also remains in focus on back of the unfortunate instance, that is the death of 4 workers due to a gas leakage at its Dahej plant. JSW Energy, as highlighted earlier, also remains in focus with a 3% gain today on the back of its deal to acquire O2 Power for a $1.47 billion deal. Senor's Pharma is one of the stellar listings today, lists at a 53% premium. And lastly, Carraro India also in focus, seen a really tepid listing with a 8% discount in terms of listing.
Interesting names Upasana just highlighted. Thanks a lot for that, though. And some of the names that Upasana mentioned, KFin Tech and Intellect Design, both of them continuing to see some bit of profit booking after the surge that they had seen through a better part of last week. So Intellect Design and KFin both at the lowest point of the day. But time to get in a quick chart check in as well. Ruchi Jain of Motilal Oswal is joining in now. For a chart check. Ruchit, good afternoon. Thank you for joining in. You know, this Nifty band of 23,900 to 24,000 is proving out to be somewhat of a decisive hurdle for the index. What's the call here now? What will it take for the index to break past that range? What's the call there? And of course, your stock recommendations for the afternoon as well.
Yes, hi, very good afternoon, Harmaz. Very good afternoon, Vivek. Well, we have seen that in last 3 months, the main cause for the markets to come down is FIS selling. Wherever they have, whenever they sell in the cash segment and along with that, they have short positions in the index future segment, a market tends to show some kind of price-wise corrective phase. Now, during the rollover a couple of days ago, we have seen that only about 17 to 18% of the positions are now on the long side, which clearly indicates still there is lack of buying interest by them, or even though existing short positions are not getting covered. So I think no, if the market has to see any kind of pullback move, that would only be led by no FIS covering the short positions, and until the data changes, I think markets would continue to either show some consolidation wherein it would consolidate within the broad range, or it will see some selling pressure whenever there are in between intraday pullback moves. So for now, if you look at last 4 or 5 trading sessions, whether it's Nifty, Bank Nifty, or even in the broader markets, the mid cap index, we have seen more of a range bound activity happening. So we do not expect any trended phase to come in in a very short term. Maybe after a week or so, if the markets see a decisive breakout at least above its 20 EMA, and if the FIS data change, then only we would go long on the markets. Otherwise, I think we are taking more of a stock specific approach and looking for only such opportunities where the fall is less compared to the market. And one such segment where we can clearly see that the correction is less than the broader markets is pharma space. So I think even if you look at the sectoral indices, pharma is the only index where the high top, high bottom structure technically is still in formation. So I think pharma would be the only space where at least in the near term, outperformance would continue. So even my stock picks are from the same sector from the pharma names. First would be, of course, Lupin, where we can clearly see a price up moves getting supported by good volumes, and it's approaching its previous all-time high levels, I think, which should be breached. So short-term traders can look for buying opportunities in Lupin with stock below 2200 for potential targets around 2400. And again, from the same pharma basket, Ipca Lab is another name which technically is looking positive. Yesterday itself,
Rochit, I think
Friday,
we've
it has given a breakout from a consolidation phase with good volumes. So with stock below 1600, one can buy for target of 1750.
Thanks so much, Ruchit. Thank you for sharing both your index calls as well as the stock calls. Well, before moving into a short break, a couple of real estate stocks have seen a sharp pullback. Names like Godrej Properties, Oberoi Realty, Prestige Estates, all of these stocks now trading near the day's highest points. But we'll now move into a short break. We'll get you more on the markets and stock-specific action on the other side. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Let's look at some of the stocks that are moving around in the broader markets, and JSW Energy is one of them, off the highs of the day, but it's also been in the news because of its largest ever acquisition that it announced. Now, Vivek, most of the brokerages are bullish after this acquisition. What do they have to say?
Well, multiple ways to look at this particular acquisition, but overall it's a largely value accretive transaction and acquisition as far as JSW Energy is concerned. One way to look at it is, the build versus pay, which is what the management alluded to. And in that case, what the company gets is access to operational capacity, operations as soon as June 2025, greenfield or a brownfield expansion takes a lot longer. So let's have a look at what brokerages have said. First up, 4.7 gigawatt platform from O2 Power. Enterprise value for this particular deal at 12,468 crore rupees. So Axis Capital says locked-in generation capacity increases to close to 25 gigawatt from the current 20 gigawatt. Target EBITDA of O2 at 3,750 crores amounts to almost 71% of JSW's FY24 consolidated EBITDA. So it's a significant addition as far as the EBITDA run rate is concerned. Equity upside as per Axis Capital works out to close to 35 rupees a share. Investec says they estimate the portfolio value as per their estimates. Note, it's close to 18,000 crore as per the EV. So what is it that the equity value they are alluding to? Close to 8,000 crore rupees, 10,000 crore rupees of debt. So on the back of that, the potential upside they see to JSW Energy is close to 45 rupees a share. And lastly, Motilal Oswal, they are a lot more bullish. They say they have a buy call in a target at close to 810 rupees a share. They say that the acquisition of 4.7 gigawatt renewable asset at 7 times EV to EBITDA unlocks almost 57 rupees a share as far as this particular deal is concerned. Along with that, the interest cost at 8.8% is competitive and at par with the company itself. In fact, earlier today, we spoke to Sharad Mahendra, the joint MD and CEO of JSW Energy, explained to us the rationale of the deal and what is it that investors can look forward to. Listen.
That we are getting a very, very high quality asset and which is close a total at a built up to 4.7 gigawatt of capacity, out of which by June 25 almost 2.3 gigawatt will be operational. And as we are aware of wind build of around 8 to 8.5 crores per megawatt. And then we see that what is that turns to for 4.7 gigawatt. We have found this very, very attractive. The H1 was exceptional in terms of two factors. One, the elections, which stalled the investment which was going on, especially from the government side and also the private investment. And we saw government spend a decline, marginal decline, as if we compare with H1 of last fiscal. So, but yes, and then the extended monsoons which were there. These were the two factors. But we have seen in last 1 month, especially last 2 to 3 weeks, the demand as well as the tariffs have started going up significantly, what we have seen in Q2. And we are absolutely certain that demand pickup is there. And the tariffs also are moving upward. And that is purely the demand supply scenario. And once the demand is picking up, the tariffs also, we are quite certain that will be inching upward only.
Well, that was Sharad Mahendra of JSW Energy giving us what is it to look forward to in terms of tariff hikes as well as the demand scenario. Well, one particular sector of the market that's doing quite well is the pharma pack. Now, within the pharma pack, Motilal Oswal today reiterated its buy rating on Ipca Labs. The brokerage house believes the pharma major is well poised to revive its US business through new product launches. Vinny joins us with more details.
Absolutely. So we have a positive note. This is coming in from Motilal Oswal, reiterating a buy, target price of 1,980 rupees per share. What is keeping them positive is that they believe that US business for the company that will start picking up pace, and that will be mainly led by new product launches, stable pricing, which will be supporting the growth for the company, specifically the US side. Other than that, they're expecting US business. Motilal Oswal is expecting US business to see a CAGR growth of around 52% over FY24 to FY27. Other than US business, so the other export side, they expect that to see a growth of 23% in terms of CAGR over FY24 to FY27. Now, other than that, the business positioning is quite strong, is what Motilal Oswal is saying, as well as they're saying there's a better outlook for the company going forward. Do not forget that Unichem acquisition has given them more of a space in terms of a growth strategy and enhancing their markets, export markets, especially in Australia, New Zealand, as well as Europe. That's also a key highlight there. And when you look at in terms of companies, the top 10 therapies are experiencing a double-digit growth from November 2020 to November 2024. So that is also something that will continue to see good growth. And the company is now starting to focus even on newer launches. So that will also be something, and newer therapies, that will be something that will be helping them in growing further in terms of a growth outlook that they have for the company. So yes, that's why it's in focus, buzzing in trade today.
Percent higher on Ipca Labs. By the way, the flashes on your screen, a large trade has taken place in Greaves Cotton, where almost 2% equity has changed hands at an average price of 312 rupees. 131 crore worth is the transaction, and the stock has moved to the highest point of the day. 11% higher now is Greaves Cotton. The stock was up in a 20% circuit, if I'm not wrong, on Friday's trading session as well. So it continues to move higher ahead of the IPO of its Greaves Electric Mobility division. So block deal in Greaves Cotton, stock at the highest point of the day. Time for a short break. More on the markets and specific stocks on the other side. Stay tuned. Well, 250 points off the highs of the day now is the Nifty, now even below that immediate support zone of 23,700, and the sharp fall in the index continues this afternoon as we head into the final few minutes of Monday's trading session, which is the penultimate day of 2024. What's pulling the index lower? Well, if you look at the advanced decline, or actually look at the contributors, you look at them at 12 noon and you look at them at 1:45 this afternoon, you would see a complete mirror image, because at that point of time it was HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank that were leading the index higher, and now they're pulling the index down, and significantly off the highs of the day is HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank, both of them 26 points on the downside for HDFC Bank, 20 points on the downside for ICICI, and IT is not far behind either. Infosys and TCS both are equal contributors to this fall that we are witnessing in the Nifty, and SBI too chipping in with losses of its own. So not good going for the markets. The sell-off is intensifying now at 23,650, well below the immediate support as well.
Absolutely right, Hormaz. And like you said, the pain has suddenly intensified in the last half hour or so. Well, moving on, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman chaired the 5th pre-budget consultation with industry representatives in New Delhi. The meeting was held as part of the preparations for the upcoming Union Budget 2025-2026. Well, my colleague Shivani also spoke to Sanjeev Puri, President CII and Chairman and Managing Director of ITC, on the various suggestions made in the pre-budget meeting. Let's listen in.
I think I wouldn't like to summarize it by saying our key demand. I think that would not be a fair way of putting across the suggestions we have made. See, ultimately, CII is working on methods to, or suggestions for, further economic development. We are in a strong wicket, and we are in a strong wicket because of a lot of sound policies that the government has taken over several years, and we are in a sound position because of, despite the challenges in the world, despite the excess capacities in China, despite the impact on food inflation account of climate change, despite all of this, we are in a solid foundation. So our whole focus has been on how to further focus on the economic development of the nation, right? And CII sees itself, member sees itself as a partner in the development. So I won't want to put it across as saying as a demand or something like that. So these are all suggestions. So these suggestions are on how to provide impetus on sectors that have high, labor intensity, onto MSMEs, ideas on integrating with global value chains. We've spoken about areas that, on divestment of public enterprises. We've spoke for resource mobilization and also investing in using those resources to invest in a sovereign fund to look at some strategic areas. We've also spoken about, natural resources, given that economic activity is intrinsically linked to a lot of natural resources, including agriculture. So how to build adaptive capacity, resilience in those areas. We've also emphasized that the government's strategy of, focusing on public investments and also the fiscal consolidation glide path is actually benefiting the nation, because it's crowding. It is certainly leading to better private investment. It is making the economy competitive. So we've said that reinforced that should continue, and suggested a 25% hike in public capex for the year ahead. 25 for the year ahead.
And how are we seeing on the private capex progressing?
Private capex is happening, and private capex is happening. In fact, as a percentage of GDP, it is now higher than what it was pre-COVID. In Q2, in fact, the announcements have been substantially higher than what they are in the past. So I think we're on the right track, and so there are a lot of positives in the Indian economy. There are, of course, global challenges that are headwinds, but with the positives in the Indian economy, we do see that the private capex will continue to progress.
Okay, you just spoke about the fiscal glide path. Do you see that narrowing down to a better level because of the capex expenditure that government is making?
What we are saying is that next year the target is 4.5. And we are suggesting that we stay with 4.5, because any further compression will impact, growth. So we are suggesting that stay with the fiscal glide path and look towards debt reduction glide path to about 50% of GDP by FY30, that will help India's sovereign rating and also therefore interest rates.
That was the market. That was Sanjeev Puri there in conversation with Shivani. By the way, the market continues to fall now below 23,650 is the index, and a very, very sharp fall, almost a 250-point drop from the highs of the day. Pull up the Nifty Bank, and that is the bigger culprit for this fall because that was the one that was leading the index higher. And there you can see that a very sharp fall on the Nifty Bank as well, 500 points down. If you could pull up the chart which shows how off the highs of the day that the index is, it's almost a very, very sharp correction, almost a 2% downtick from the highs of the day for the Nifty Bank. So further pressure coming in for the markets as we speak. There you can see almost an 1150-point drop from the highs of the day, and that has happened in just a couple of hours because by noon or around about 12:30 the index was at the highest point of the day, which was close to levels of 52,000. In fact, Shivangi Sarada even highlighted that 52,000 is a resistance for the index, and that's exactly what has turned out to be as of now. So the market's under pressure. We call time on this edition of Midcap Radar though. From Vivek, me and the team that put this show together, thank you for watching. Your stocks up next to answer all your queries.